विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवारी पाश्चात्य देशतरिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासरि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to week 9. Welcome to week 9 of this Bhagavad-Gita lecture series by Manonatha Maharaj. We're just very grateful for your association, Maharaj, and very appreciative of your time and you sharing your time and your realizations with us every single week. So thank you. With that, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and stop talking too. So please, Maharaj, whenever you're ready.
Hare Krishna. I think, first of all, I think I got you wrong. I thought that today we had to do the chapter 7, while we had to do, I just realized that we had to do chapter 8. Is that correct? Somebody can confirm?
Yeah, I think this week we were supposed to do chapter 8, but we can do chapter 7 again. We can go deeper, however you like.
The difference is that I didn't prepare it, but it's okay. All right, then let's start, as always, of offering our humble obeisances to deities and gurus, without whom we would not be able here today to talk about so nice topics, transcendental topics, so beautiful and so enlivening. And we had to be grateful. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitantam Sajivam Sattvetam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishnapanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada was established within this material world, the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunatha Dasa, Raghunatha Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distress and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like golden gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. I offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivasa, and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so we arrived to chapter 8 of the Bhagavad-Gita. And so we are almost half of the way, and I'm sure devotees have learned quite a few things on the teaching of Lord Krishna. We are trying to make it simple, because I was asked to offer an introductory course on the Bhagavad-Gita to understand what it says in general. So that's why we are taking an entire chapter into 1 hour, which is obviously not enough, but we are trying to make it so. And so the past 7 chapters, we have discussed about quite a few important topics every devotee should know. Some of these topics were very primary or important, and others were a little less important. But somebody who thinks that in Bhagavad Gita there are topics who are less important in the sense that they are not necessary to know, he will make a big mistake, because Krishna has no time to waste saying things that are not important. They're all important. Every word is important. We could make a class on one word of the Bhagavad Gita. So, but for us, the way we think, the way we live, there are certain topics who strike us more. At least it's true. They hit me more deeply when I was a young devotee and I heard Bhagavad Gita for the first time. So the first chapter, we discuss some ethics, and some history and ethics. About history, you are going to have the Mahabharata in English when Bhakti Rosario and Bhakta Andy will finish their service, which is going on. I received news, very encouraging news that is proceeding. And then about ethics. Someone should not kill. That's not, we don't need a great soul to hear a concept like that. Yes, we should not kill. But Arjuna gave us reasons that we never thought. about why we should not kill. And Krishna responded in answer to Arjuna in a very surprising way, because everybody will think, well, Krishna is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so God is good, so how can he decide a war? But Krishna actually told Arjuna, no, you have to fight. And he started to make a list of few reasons. And they say at the end of the Bhagavad-Gita, you'll understand why he was in favor of that war. That doesn't mean that Krishna is saying all wars are good. Actually, well, let's start one if we don't have one. Of course, that is not Krishna's teaching. That there was that particular war that had to be fought. And and then we started with various topics, very important, like the jiva, we are spirit soul, the body, and then the science of work, the way a devotee should behave in the spiritual life. This is very important. We spoke about something. And the last chapter, we touched the topic of the Supreme Lord. It exists, God or not. And then we spoke about 1 hour about this. And I'm sure that everybody is convinced that God must exist. Because there is no way it doesn't exist. It's surely more easy. It's easier for a theist to show that God must exist than an atheist to prove that God does not exist, because it doesn't make sense. But I'm not going to repeat what I said, that although it won't be bad, it won't hurt anybody to hear the same thing. But now we have to start studying the chapter 8, and we are going to do that. So first of all, Arjuna makes, and then of course we've spoken about other things like yoga, etc. etc. In Arjuna today, in the chapter 8, he poses to Krishna several questions, and we are going to study those questions and those answers. So, first question: what is Brahman? And what is the self? Setup number 2. What are fruitive activities? The third. And the fourth, what is this material manifestation? And last, what are the demigods? It doesn't stop here. Arjuna was a wonderful philosopher. He was very thoughtful. So he had a lot of questions. And then he asked, who is the Lord of Sacrifice? 6, how does he live in the body? 7. And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? This is incredible questions. We could stay on this question the whole of our life. So let's begin. So first of all, Brahman, it depends very much by the context in which this word is used. For instance, here Krishna he gives a meaning which in the Vedanta Sutra is used in a different way. Brahman, says Krishna, is the living entity. It's us. While in the Vedanta Sutra, Brahman is indicated as a Supreme Lord. Tato Brahma Jigyasa. Actually, we have spoken about the word Brahma Jigyasa, and I objected to the translation of Brahma Jigyasa as the knowledge of Brahman, because there is Brahma, the knowledge of Brahma, not Brahman. So what is the difference between Brahma and Brahman? Brahma is masculine and Brahman is neuter. So when we use the word Brahman, we refer not to a person, but to an energy. So we are Brahman, but we are not Brahma. Brahma is Krishna. So Brahma Jigyasa refers to questions to the supreme, to the question related to the supreme personality of Godhead. Here Arjuna uses the word Brahman. So Krishna answers, perfect way of obviously, and that the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman. We are spirit soul. And just like Krishna is also a spirit soul. Okay, so what is the difference between us, Brahman, and he? Brahman, meaning that is made of Brahman, that we are minute and he is not. He is infinite. So there is a big difference. No? And so the nature of the soul, Krishna explains in the third actually, verse of this chapter 8, and it is called Brahman because it's transcendental, and its eternal nature is called Adhyatma. So what is the difference between Brahman and Adhyatma? Brahman is the energy. It's like saying, this table is made of wood. That is Brahman. Brahman is an adjective. While Adhyatma, it refers more on how this table is made. This table is flat. This table is made of drawers. This table is nice, it's clean. In other words, it gives specifics. So this is the difference between Brahman and Adhyatma. So then Krishna says that so Brahman, the first two questions are already answered, but we are going to go back to Brahman and Adhyatma. And the third question, Krishna answers in the same verse, saying, what are fruitive activities? And Krishna answers, action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities. We have said many times that karma comes from the verbal seed, kri, which it develops in karma. Karma means action. In this material world, there is no action without reaction. That's why the same word is used for two different things. One for the action, karma, and reaction, karma. The same word. So it's everything we do with no spiritual interest. Just we do because we are in this material world, we identify with this body, and obviously we have to do something. We have to work, we have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to drink. Well, everything we do in this material, this is called karma. On fruitive activities, if we go to sleep, going to sleep is karma, and there is what is the fruitive activity of this? That we sleep. So this is a fruitive reaction. So we do something for the result. We go to sleep, and the result is sleeping. We eat, and the result is eating. So this is the explanation of karma or fruitive activities. When we speak about karma yoga, and we have spoken a lot about karma yoga, that's a totally different thing. Okay, so we are at karma yoga. The word yoga changes the meaning of the word karma. Karma means action in generic. So if we speak about karma kanda means action with material reaction. Karma yoga, since the word yoga refers to getting again in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then this karma is spiritual. Whether it's perfectly spiritual or at the beginning stage of spirituality, still is karma. because part of the activities we do does not give one fruitive reaction. So karma kanda, karma yoga are two different things. One devotee acting and an atheist acting are two different things, very much opposite. So now Krishna is going to answer about the question of the material manifestation. That is called adibhuta. That is called the material manifestation. And this is the world that we know. We don't know much about this material world, but we know something. Okay, so this world is basically made for us. Do we want to be with Krishna? We stay in the spiritual world. We don't want to stay with Krishna somewhere. We had to go. We cannot just. Krishna doesn't say, okay, you don't want me, then you disappear. Then we are sent in this material world to do what we want. Do we want Krishna? Okay, we can. We don't want Krishna, we can. So, and so this is called adibhuta, is the material manifestation. And so Krishna answered to the question of the demigod. Who are the demigods? The demigods are called Adidaiva. Adidaiva. Adidaiva means the demigod. Why Krishna is talking about the demigods? For instance, for us, it's not much. We don't know who. But in the West, nobody knows who are the demigods. They don't know who Krishna is. What to speak about the demigods? But Krishna was talking to personal culture. Was not talking as asses like us and donkeys and like Westerners who don't know anything. So he had to talk about the demigods because everybody in India knows who are the demigods. So the demigods are not gods, they are representative of gods. They have a great powers in this material world, like Surya, the sun, or Chandra, the moon, or Yama for dispensing justice, or there are Varuna, the ocean, etc., etc. So these demigods, they have their planets, like Shukracharya lives in Venus, or Kartikeya who lives in Mars, or we already mentioned Vivaswani lives in the sun, etc., etc. So the life in these planets is extremely beautiful. Most of them are upper planets. A demigod doesn't live in hell or in a hellish planet. He lives in a very beautiful place, and everybody wants to go there. Who doesn't want to go to the moon or the sun? Everybody wants to go. Of course, those who know what is in the sun or what is in, because we think that the sun is a fiery ball. It's not a fiery ball, and the moon is like a deserted rock. That is not a deserted rock. In the Veda, there are descriptions of the opulence of the people and things in this planet. And so we cannot, every planet has its own body. And so with our body, we cannot see what is there. It's another dimension. We don't see, we just see an external representation which is adapted to our senses. And our senses, looking at the moon, we see just a rock, not very attractive. I don't know why the scientists want to go there. It's just a rock. They don't see anything else. So who wants to go live in the sun? It's just fire. It's not fire. Study the Vedas, and you will see that you want to go there. So so those who want to enjoy material life, they do not do sacrifice for Krishna, because Krishna does not promise material enjoyment. Actually, Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityaja. Yaj means to renounce. Krishna says you have to renounce. So if someone does not want to renounce, they say, no, okay, no, I don't want. I don't want to be a devotee of Krishna. I want to be a devotee of Chandra and Surya, etc., because I still want to enjoy life. Okay, and so Krishna will talk about the demigods and discourage everyone to do sacrifice for the devas, and this is called Adidaiva. And then the Supreme Lord, who is represented in the Super Soul and the heart, is called Adi Yagya. This is a very meaningful word, Adi Yagya, because he is the Lord of all sacrifice. So we should do sacrifice for him and not for any Adidaiva, for any demigod. So much so that Krishna makes it very clear, out of the bat, you will say. I think I learned this expression a few days ago. And is that correct? Out of the bat? From the very beginning, immediately?
Off the bat?
Off the bat, okay. There's a meaning, immediately, right in the beginning. Okay, off the bat. And whoever, Krishna immediately says, 1 second. Okay, I said, I am Adi Yagya, and immediately he says, whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me, not Surya, Chandra, or Varuna, or remembering me, Krishna, attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. That Krishna is very strong in this assertion. He says, you have to remember me, not any other demigod. Why? Because Krishna is Adi Yagya, is the origin of everything. Whatever state of being will remember when he quits this body, Sono Kunti, the state will attain without fail. This is very important, this verse. Extremely important. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajati ante kaleva ram tam tam eva iti kauntaya saratadda bhavita. And Krishna is saying that there is some religion who says, if you remember God at the end of your life, then you go to paradise, you go to heaven. Krishna here say, no. Low down the level of your hypocrisy. You don't cheat God in this way, that you do all kind of nonsense in the whole of your life. You just remember God. Well, first of all, you are not assured you can remember anything at the time of your death, because death can come in any way. It can be sudden, it can be painful. So it's not that you say, okay, I'm going to die 1 second, so God. But even if you arrive at the time of death completely tranquil and you can do whatever you want to with your mind, that is not what Krishna says. Krishna said, whatever state of being, whatever you are at the moment of death, and what you are has been developed during your life. During your life, you behave, you think, you speak, you hear, you watch, several things, and thanks to what you did in your life, you develop a state of being. Okay, what you become someone, and that someone is what you have at the time of death. So much so, if your death is violent, is sudden, doesn't really matter, because you are what you are. You die suddenly, you are a devotee. You have been thinking of Krishna the whole of your life. It doesn't matter what you think at the exact second of your life. So Krishna says, whatever state of being one is, when he quits his body, that state will attain without fail. That means that you are a transcendentalist. At the time of your death, you attain the transcendental state of Krishna. This principle, it's valid for everybody. For instance, if you have many material desires and you work for the desire, you want this, etc., etc. At time of death, that's what you are. So you may achieve some planets, a higher planet, or the body of an animal also. If you like to eat, you become a pig. If you like anything else, then you become what you have been thinking most of your life. And so yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajati kalevaram tantam evaiti kaunteya satat bhava bhavita. 3 times Krishna says it in the same verse. These are 3 different, I say that in English, state, past, future, present, or the same, or the verb, the different verbal, help me, I will say that.
Those are verb tenses, Guru
Verb
Maharaj.
tenses, thank you. So there are 3 different verb tenses. So Krishna is saying, whatever you have been, past, and whatever you are, present, you will be in the future. So Krishna again, by using Sanskrit, obviously, he was started talking in Sanskrit, is telling us that you have to be a devotee. Don't trust the last moment of your life. Obviously, thinking to, it's not that now someone who is not a devotee, doesn't want to be a devotee yet, etc. Then you think, okay, I don't need to think to Krishna at the moment. Obviously, if you think about Krishna, the moment of your death, you can do that, better you do it. But this is not the principle. It's not like some religion who says, do whatever nonsense you want, and then at the end you think of God, and then you go, or other hypocrisies like, oh, my guru, Jesus Christ, died for me, so I can do any nonsense I want. He died for me. I didn't die. You pay everything you do. It doesn't pay what you do. So this is a kind of, Jesus Christ has become the most historical trash being in the history. All our dirty things, we throw it to him, convinced that he is going to pay for us. No, we pay. He paid. He saved those who came before him. Like the guru, at the moment of initiation, it burns your past activities. But in the future, if you do some casual mistake, the guru can still purify that. But if you make the plan of breaking all the principles and not doing anything the guru says, etc., you pay. You pay, and you pay more, because now you know that you're not supposed to do it. Okay, but of course there are mistakes done because one cannot do it, cannot not do it. Okay, it's just weak, and that's something. Krishna is a person. It's not a mecha. It's not a machine. You do a mistake, the result comes out. It's not like that. One thing is a mistake because I would like to be better, but I just don't have the strength yet. Okay, and Krishna says, okay. But another thing is trying to, cheat Krishna, saying, I know that, and I could do it right, but I don't do it because I just don't want. My guru will take the guru does not take, you take. And so this is what this very important verse, Yam Yam Vapi Smaram Bhavam Tyajati, this verse should be put in memory and try to be understood more deeply as possible. Then Arjuna says how we should arrive at the end of death, at the end of life, at the moment of death. As you know, this is so clear. Krishna is not saying do whatever you want and then at the end of life. No, you always think of me in the form of Krishna. It's giving a very precise object of meditation. The object of meditation, the goal is called sadhya. The way of achieving sadhya is called sadhana. And the person who practices sadhana is called sadhaka. So the devotee is a sadhaka who practices sadhana with the aim of achieving Lord Krishna, which is sadhya. And Arjuna and Krishna is not saying something very, like in many yoga. What should I meditate? You should meditate the tip of your nose and some light. How can you meditate on light? What does it even mean? Meditate on light, And then Krishna here is very natural. He says, no, you meditate on me, on my form of Krishna. Cannot be more clear and more easier than this. This is what the sadhana should be. We should meditate on Krishna, on the form of Krishna. And at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. Krishna does not forget that Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and he wants him to fight in this war. But again, Krishna comes back to the same concept, the same principle. They say, dedicate all your activities, fighting or not fighting, any activity. We are not fighters, we cannot dedicate fighting to him. And but any activity you do, you dedicate it to me. This is bhakti yoga, the devotional service. Anything you do, anything you say, anything you think, anything you hear, anything you see, should be dedicated to Krishna. Mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without a doubt. So Krishna's Bhagavad-Gita is the most wonderful book of philosophy because it's so clear. Of course, it's clear, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, otherwise it would be Aramaic for us. But thanks to Srila Prabhupada, we can understand the Bhagavad-Gita very simply, in a very simple way. He who meditates on me as a supreme personality of Godhead, not as a demigod, because people know that Shiva and Brahma and Vishnu, Indra, Chandra, they are not the supreme personality of Godhead. They know because it's in the Vedas. Okay, if one meditates in Indra, he must have studied the Vedas, and the Vedas is very clear. Indra is not the supreme personality of Godhead. But here he says one should meditate on me, not only in my form, but with a clear understanding that I am the supreme person, the one who knows everything. Indra doesn't know everything, as he is the oldest. Indra is not the oldest, he is born at a certain point. He's the controller. Indra is not the controller. We're smaller than the smallest, and not demigod that can enter into the atom inside the material manifestation, who's the maintainer of everything. That's still the Paramatma inside the atom maintains the creation. Okay, there is something called atomic attraction. It's got another term, I don't remember. Anyway, inside the atom there is this energy who keeps the atom close to one to the other, and depending from the energy, then we have solid matter, liquid matter, or heavy matter, depending from the strength of the atomic attraction. And this comes from the Paramatma. There are two types of Paramatma. One Paramatma inside the material manifestation, the other Paramatma inside everyone's heart. What's the difference between these two? The first one is impersonal and temporary because it lasts until the matter lasts, and the other one is personal but temporary also. The day that we leave this material world, finally we go back to Krishna, then our Paramatma will leave us too. And which beyond the material conception, which is inconceivable, we cannot understand that Krishna. And the more we advance in spiritual life, the more we understand that we cannot understand him. Because at the beginning, our philosophy is very vast. It's a lot to know, but it's not endless, it's not infinite. We think, well, there will be a point that I understand the philosophy. You are under illusion. You're never going to understand all our philosophy, because our philosophy is the description of the Supreme Personality of God, which is infinite. So the philosophy regarding him is infinite also. But he's always a person. When we speak about infinite or endless or eternal, we have very difficult time to think it in terms of a person, because we have no experience, direct personal experience of a person being infinite, being eternal, being all-knowing, being all-powerful. Everybody we know is not like that. But Krishna here says, I am a person. The Supreme Personality of God is a person, and he has infinite capacities. There is main difference again between us and him. We are persons, but limited. He's a person, but unlimited. Is luminous like the sun, is transcendental and beyond the material nature. You know, beyond the material nature, it's not like us. We are in the material nature. He is not in the material nature. So this is another very big difference. He can fall, he can come in the material world. We fall in the material world. You see the difference? One thing is to come, and another thing is falling. Falling means you fall. Coming, you come. One who at the time of death fixes his life hair between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga with undeviating mind engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, we certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna here in this verse goes back to talk about some type of yoga that we don't practice, okay? But the principle is the same. At the time of death, but actually we have been trained to live as this is the last moment of our life. We should remember the Supreme Lord in full devotion, always. Anything, doesn't matter what we do, what we say, what we hear, what we watch, we should always remember the Supreme Lord in devotion. There is a very important piece of a verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, and he says the most important subject or principle or rule in devotional service to always remember Krishna and never forget him. That's it. This is the most important of all. And everything we do is to achieve this state of mind. Never forget Krishna, not in one moment. Now, Krishna starts to talk about something else. Someone who wants to get liberation, but not in devotion. Okay? I want to get free from this material world, but I'm not ready to worship Krishna, you know, because of ego. We have ego. That's me, you know, bowing down in front of Krishna. Somebody else, no, I will not. No. So these persons, they practice another type of meditation, and they enter into Brahman. Means they enter, the jiva enter into the great energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's an external energy. They enter into this, that is often depicted as a giant light. Brahma Jyoti. Jyoti means light, and Brahma means transcendental, so it's a transcendental light. One is to practice celibacy the whole of life, otherwise you don't go anywhere. And detachment from all sensual engagement. You go in the top of the Himalaya, and you don't eat very much, you don't sleep very much, you don't clean yourself very much. You are just totally non-interested in anything material, in anything referred to this material body. and closes all doors of the senses, fixing the mind on the heart and life at the top of it, when establishing self-yoga. This is a complicated principle that is being very nicely described by the great sage Patanjali in his Yoga Sutra. Yoga Sutra is a wonderful book. I started to translate it and to explain it many years ago. I never finished. So, so when he says closing the door of the senses, it's not an idea. You actually have to close the doors because the soul shouldn't come out of your anus, your anus, of your genital, or your mouth, or your nostrils, or your ears, or your eyes. These are all doors where things come in and go out of the body. The soul has to burst the top of your head in a special place. Touch your head here, and you'll see that there is a little thing going down. It's not all the same. This is called Brahmarandra. Did you feel it? That you have some kind of hole in the top of your head? All human beings has it. This is called Brahmarandra. There is the place where the soul bursting open, he goes into his next destination. Okay, that's pure devotee is a different thing. He can get out of the body in any way. It doesn't really, because all the body is completely spiritual. But for those who are yogis, then he should close physically. That's why they sit down in certain postures, because with the big toe they close the anus, and with the other toe is just the position of the leg. With his feet, they closes the two doors, the inferior doors, and then vibrating the sacred syllable Om. Is a meditation, Omkara or Pranava. It's a sacred sound. We can dedicate some one class on Pranava, Omkara, one day, and then thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly reaching the spiritual planet. You can go wherever you want if you are perfect in this meditation. You can go to the spiritual planet or in the Brahmajyoti. For one who always remember me without deviation, you see, always, not at the end of the life. I want to make this point. I want to repeat this point because it's important. Because of constant engagement in devotional service, and they never return to this material world. Krishna says, once you go, you never come back. Never return to this material world, which is full of miseries. Someone who has not understood that this material world is just misery from the beginning to the end is not very intelligent. And someone who goes back to the spiritual world never comes back. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. This is the description that Krishna does on the material world. But one who attains to my abode, or Sono Kunti, never takes birth again. Okay? Okay, now, there is some clarification about time, and I don't know if I should enter into this mathematical calculation about defining time. Okay, I will say something, I don't pretend that you remember, or you know this. You have studied the different calculation of time. Who knows it? Not really. Yeah? Okay. So how there is a precise way of knowing the time, how it works. Okay, so then the numbers are very high. So to remember everything, I will take my scheme. So all right, so we know that there are 4 yugas, okay? 4 yugas, they are 4,320,000 human years. This is a Mahayuga. Mahayuga means Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. Each of them are divided in Sandhya Yuga and Sandhyamsha in 3 different parts. And this is one important to know when we are going to talk about Kali Yuga a little bit. Okay, so $4,320,000, years, human years. Okay, it's the passing of the 4 yugas. Okay, so so one day of Brahma is 1,000 multiplied by 4,320,000. That's one day of Brahma. Okay. And the same with the night. So so Brahma lives a little more than 100 of these years. So you try to do the math of this, and you will see that that is a very long time. And the Devas, they live a little less than Brahma, but still they live a lot of time. Okay, so 1,000 of the 4 yugas, that's one day of Brahma. Okay, so to determine chronology, this division is not the best, because you find a different way in the Puranas. In the Puranas, there is often, not always, but often, the Manu under which this happened. Okay, so there is a different way. In a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. The period of life of Manu is called Manvantara. So they live more or less 71 million human years. So if we know the 14 Manus, then you have an idea of when things, a specific thing happen, more or less. You can calculate with some precision, you know, and this would ever happen. Okay, but we are not going to go deep into this. This also, I wrote some booklet about calculation of time. It's all formula in mathematics and multiplication. It's not easy to certainly to remember. So by human calculation, because the Devas, they have a different computation, 1,000 ages taken together for the duration of Brahma's one day, and such is the duration of his night. So 4,320 millions is the day of Brahma. So you have to multiply it by 2, because Brahma also has a night. So, and when Brahma goes to sleep, there is a partial destruction of the universe, not complete. This is called pralaya. There are different types of pralayas. And when Brahma goes to sleep, there is a partial destruction of the universe. And when Brahma wakes up, he again start to build up the universe as it was before. Not as it was before, exactly in the same way. It's not mandatory that he creates the Earth and Mars and Venus. He can do it in another way. And the living entities also becomes manifest and immanifest during the day, during the day and night of Brahma. And here Krishna is saying, and maybe after this we should, although we are not finished, this it's a little long. So I don't think we can make it to finish today. Everything, because I don't want to bore you, because this last part it becomes a little technical, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is attainable by yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal, it's transcendental. So material world and spiritual world are two different worlds. They're different one with the other. And there is no distraction for the spiritual world. There is no day of Brahman and withdrawing all the manifestation at the night. There is no such a thing. The spiritual world is never annihilated, it's never destroyed, it's always pure and perfect. And that place is where the Vedantists they want to go. The eternal world. Okay, now I will stop here, just reading the last verse, and maybe we can explain it next week. I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. This is technical because Krishna is saying, if you leave the body at this time, you come back in a material body. If you leave the body at another time, you go to this planet. If you leave another time, then you go to the other planet. If you live in another way, you go to the spiritual world. There is a science. Whoever of you has read the Srimad Bhagavata knows that Bhishma Deva was waiting Uttarayana, the right time to leave the body. And this is why the Krishna is explaining it in the Bhagavad-Gita. And he's saying that the time when you leave your body, it matters a lot. And that's why we should not play a card game saying, okay, I will remember. It's not so simple. It's not so simple. Better you are always Krishna conscious or you don't go wrong. But whatever time, it doesn't matter because you are a pure devotee of the Lord. So next time we are going to delve a little bit, not so very much about the time or the day or the days where living the body is better than other. Okay, I think that's it for 1 hour for today. And now, I want at least 10 questions. We should I have an idea of making questions mandatory. Like you come with your questions already made. Just kidding, don't worry.
I had a question about the word meditate. So how in the Bhagavad-Gita it says to meditate on Krishna and on the form of him. So then what does meditation actually mean in that sense?
Yeah, we in the West, those who are born in the West have no idea what meditation means, because we are accustomed to be bombarded every moment with different things, and you just look at how the face of the people, like they are moving constantly, they're moving their eyes, and also while you speak, You just sense that it's thinking to something else. There are many people listening, waiting that you pause a little bit just to enter and say something. So there is no capacity of concentration because it's just the atmosphere, it's just the way we live that destroy our power of concentration. So what it means, meditation? Meditation means once you know Krishna, then you can have Krishna's image in your mind. But it's not just the image of his body. It's just who Krishna is. One thing is think of Krishna as an idea. And another thing is think of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When you fill up, I like this expression, fill up, when you stuff your image in your mind, Krishna, with values, who Krishna is, then your image in your mind has more value, it's more powerful. And then the philosophy, you know who Krishna is, and then you know what Krishna says, and then you know what Krishna likes, and then what he thinks, what he hears, and everything. Then your meditation in Krishna is not so difficult as in the beginning, because just thinking to one image and nothing more is very difficult. It's almost impossible. Because the image it's empty, doesn't mean much for us. So we know that Krishna plays the flute, or drives Arjuna's chariot in Kurukshetra. We know that. But still, when we think in Krishna, it's like a bidimensional or bidimensional image. Is that correct? Bi or bidimensional? Bi. It's a bi.
Like 2 dimensions?
Yeah, it's bidimensional.
Bi. Yes.
Yeah, it's not. There is no third dimension. It's not full. Then the filling up this image. That's what we need devotional service. We need knowledge, so that when we think of Krishna, we are completely transcendentally amused, because we think to something unbelievable. We remember his pastimes, we remember his name, we remember his form, we remember his flute, we remember so many things. But at the beginning, what do you remember? We haven't read not even all the books, so we don't know what Krishna does. I wrote a book only on Krishna's pastimes. None of you have read this book. So you cannot think to Krishna's pastime because you don't know them. There are the Goswami of Vrindavan has written hundreds of books on Krishna's pastimes. If you have not read a book like Chamatkara Chandrika, that is in our library, in our bookshop. This Chamatkara Chandrika is made of 4 pastimes, right? Krishna, only 4. It's very long pastime, very lot of details. So if you want to meditate on Krishna, you have not read the Chamatkara Chandrika, you have not read the Krishna Ganodesha Divika, you have not read any other. And then what you think, what you meditate, you don't know Krishna. That's why the Srila Prabhupada wrote so many books, because we had to know Krishna, otherwise we cannot meditate on him. And the Goswamis, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent the Goswamis in Vrindavan and told them, you go and you do 2 things only. You discover the places of Krishna's pastimes and you write books. We are talking about 1500, so we are talking about 600 years ago, where there were no books anyway. They were using leaves of the trees, and to write. And they wrote many books, and we had to read all these books. It's so important. We had to read all Prabhupada books. We had to read all those books. So this is meditation. It's not a simple thing to do. You begin simply thinking to the name and to the form of Krishna in your mind. Hare Krishna, you remember Krishna. And you are sure that in 5 seconds your mind would go somewhere else. And then you had to grab it back and say, no, you think of Krishna. After 5 seconds, you go again thinking to something else. And this is the yoga. The yoga is the exercise, voluntary exercise to think of Krishna. When your mind goes somewhere else, you get it back, and you start again. This is austerity. It's easier that the austerities, the yogis, they do in the Himalayas, they do terrible austerities. And but you'll see with time the seconds that you can concentrate on Krishna's name or form or philosophy or taste, that you like it, will increase, and your distraction will decrease. Depends from how much you are determined in this path.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Mati Rosario? Yes.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I have a question about the overpopulation in the planet. Are all these people coming from the spiritual world at this time? Because in the past, of course, there were not so many people. So every day we have, I don't know how many billions of human beings populating this planet. So what's going on in the spiritual world that all these people are coming here? Or is the world populated by demons that are coming from somewhere else?
No, the number of the living souls are infinite. There is no number to determine. Some of them, they want to come in this material world at different times, and about the human population is really the minimum. You can just imagine that every ant is a living soul, every bacteria is a living soul, every plant is a living soul, every insect is a living soul. So the human population doesn't compute a lot. Doesn't mean much in the math or the universe. There is always somebody, and in different planets also. I said that every planet is inhabited by people. There are animals, there are plants, and there are bacteria, and there are cells. Every cell in our body, how many cells we have in the body? That's millions. They are all living souls. They're all jivas. So they come not from the spiritual world. They come from the Brahmajyoti or the plane where there are the soul. We are not hostile to decide what to do. If go to the spiritual world or come to this material world. Those who does not want to go to the spiritual world come in this material world, and depending from the consciousness, the state of being. You remember the verse we have been discussing for some minutes before, and depending from the state of consciousness, they take a body. They take a body, and they can be human, they can be animal, they can be whatever. Although it's unimaginable for us that anybody can desire to be a dog or an insect, but just think even the humans today. How many humans are actually humans? What do they do with their life all day long? What is this great difference from the animals? What an animal does? An animal wakes up, eats, and defends itself, and then it goes to sleep again, and this is most of the humans do. So their consciousness is very much animalistic. What it means to be human, what is the difference, or what is supposed to be the difference between a human and an animal. The difference is that the human has more intelligence. That's the difference. The human can develop the way to go back to the spiritual world, while the animal cannot, or plants, or insects, or any type of cannot. Only humans can do that because their intelligence is small. But if you don't use it, so why you should be in a human body? And go back and enjoy. It's much easier to enjoy materialistic life in an animal. You don't need a job. You don't need to pay taxes. You don't have to look for a house. It's so simple. It's simple. Life of an animal is simple. It's made to live in a situation that we would consider austere, but it's normal. There are some cats outside here. It's so hot in these days, and they live outside. And if you put an egg on the floor, it just fries immediately. It's so hot. But they are completely okay with this. We could, because their body, physical and subtle, is made to live in this condition. They can enjoy life much simpler. That's why you won't just eat, sleep, and mate, and defend yourself. Get into an animal body.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Ishwari?
Hare Krishna. Please, the question is, we come, the body comes from Lord Brahma, but the humanity, Jiva, who come? Who Krishna form? Who Krishna manifestation? Vishnu manifestation name? Sorry, I speak English.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We know that you come from Italy and you don't speak much English, etc., etc. We know that.
Who? Nowhere. Who?
Yeah, I understood. Your English is not that bad, actually. So first of all, the idea of the bodies, this is all by Brahma. Brahma is the architect. Brahma has thought all the different types of bodies, tall and short and white and black and red and subtle also, intelligent, less intelligent, etc., etc. The living soul, it comes from Vishnu. It's from his energy. The energy, which is called Tatastha Shakti, is an energy by which the living souls are created. By definition, Tatastha Shakti is not superior energy, it's not inferior energy. Why? Because it can choose if to go to the superior energy or to the inferior energy. And what does it mean to go to the superior energy? That means the Jiva are not spiritual, they are spiritual. And what does it mean to go to the material energy, that they become matter once they come in this world? No. It's always spiritual. But the difference is that the Jiva in the Tatastha Shakti can come in the material world or go in the spiritual world. That is the difference. Okay? So the idea of the bodies come from Brahma and the Jiva, Tatastha. Tatastha means in the middle. Srila Prabhupada explained the meaning, the etymology for the word Tatastha. Means, imagine a beach. And a beach, the point where the water comes, and when the sand finishes exactly in this point, that is Tatastha. Tatastha can come in contact with water, it can come in contact with sand. It is exactly in the middle. Tatastha means intermediate. And we are Tatastha. We can choose where you want to go. Want to go to the spiritual world, you can stay in this material world. If you want to stay here, good luck. If you want to go in the spiritual world, that's a right choice. Okay, yeah, I'm so happy that questions are coming, but give me just 1 minute before continuing taking by announcing something about my project. And the project is about the Vedic library that we used to call encyclopedia, but we realized that it was not an encyclopedia, it was a library. It's just so vast. You know, an encyclopedia doesn't have the life of everyone. It's just too big. There is one personality inside a folder. There may be 100 files, and maybe there could be audios, there can be videos inside. So it's not an encyclopedia, it's a library. You go inside, you go in the library, and you take the book and you take everything. So we have arrived to 5,160. Actually, it's not, it's increased to 5,185. And I want to open the gate just for somebody who likes to criticize. And I want to open like A, B, C, maybe so only A and B. Who wants access, free access to this section of the library and analyze it and tell me, I like it, I don't like it, this I like, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that. So whoever, Bhatti Rosario and Bhatti Rosalino already gave me they want to do this, I guess Ishwari also want it. So I want to know if Bhakta Andy, Bhakti Cassandra, and Yolanda, they want to do this. If you do, you have to report to me, and you have to say, I like it, I don't like it. You should not be afraid of criticism. Maybe if you hate it, just waste your time, okay? Tell me, I want to hear it, okay? So do you want it or not? It takes some time. Maybe if you don't have time, you say, no, I don't have time, you know, already. Okay, so I launched the thing. You don't have to answer me now. If you want it, then you write me a message. If you don't want it, you don't have to send me anything. And until now, I got some 7 or 8 persons from the Spanish congregation, and I'll send it to them. Okay, back to Andy. What's your question?
Okay, so this question is on behalf of Bhakti Cassandra. She's asking if you could explain more about the 2 different Paramatmas. So how there's like the Paramatma for the whole universe and then the personal.
There are 3 Vishnus, fundamentally. One is called Mahavishnu, Karanodakashai Vishnu, Karanarnavashai Vishnu. There are different names. His duty or his position is to create the universe, just not inside the universe, but the universes. Then he enters into each of these universes as a second expansion, which is called Garbhodakashai Vishnu. Garbhodakashai means Garbha, coals. Garbha means coals in Sanskrit. And he is the one who creates, or not creates, actually, this is wrong, the element for creation. That actually comes from Mahavishnu, okay? And he manifests in 3 different levels as Pradhana Mahatattva in Prakriti, which I'm not going to explain today, another day I will. And so from Garbhodakashai Vishnu level comes a lotus flower, and from lotus flower, Brahma is born. So there is a 3rd Vishnu, who is called Kshirodakashai Vishnu, who enters into, is an expansion of Garbhodakasha. So Karanodakasha Vishnu, Garbhodakasha Vishnu, and Kshirodakasha Vishnu. Kshirodakasha, Kshira means milk. And he creates an ocean of milk. In the middle of this ocean of milk, there is an island, and he lives in this island. In each universe, there is a Kshirodakasha Vishnu. This Kshirodakasha Vishnu has different duties or different things that he does. One thing is that he manifests Lila Avatar. Lila Avatar means the incarnation for Lila, like Rama, Varaha, Nishinga. They are manifestations from Kshirodakasha Vishnu. Okay, and then he manifests also. He divides in two, and he enters inside his Kshirodakasha Vishnu. He manifests. He just doubles himself and enters into the heart of every living being, and this is called Paramatma. We call it Paramatma. There's many names, but we know it as Paramatma, Upadrashta. And what does he do? He's in the heart, and he sees everything that we think, that we do. You know, we cannot hide from him. He's here. He sees everything, and we are very happy that we can, at least we can think, and nobody enters into our mind, but he enters into him. He sees what we think also. And so this is Paramatma. And what does he do? He, in a subtle way, or when we advance in spiritual life, more not pervading or in invasive way in our life, he helps us desiring the spiritual life. How does he do it? Many different ways. You know, we have spoken the 4 different ways somebody approaches spiritual life. Paramatma makes a mess in your life, and everything is wrong. Anything you do is a failure. So then that's good. That's him organizing this, because if everything is good, you don't have the desire for spiritual life. And he suggests us, he tells us, he speaks to us, and he tells us what to think, what to say. He suggests. He doesn't force us, but he suggests. So this is Paramatma. And this Paramatma expands also, as I already said, inside the atom, inside the smaller part of material nature, because by its energy, this Paramatma inside the atom is not a person, it's an energy. It's an energetic feature of Paramatma. And through his energy, he maintains a universe. That's why we say that there are 3 Murti, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva. We say that Brahma creates, and Shiva destroys, and Vishnu maintains. Vishnu maintains how? Vishnu maintains by entering through Kshirodakasha Vishnu inside the material nature and maintain the world together. That's why he is called a maintainer. Vishnu actually means maintainer. Okay, and so the Paramatma in the heart is personal and help us. He's our friend. We should listen to him. And Paramatma in the atom is not a person, it's just energy. Is that clear, or you want more? Ask Cassandra if he wants more. Okay. But Rosalind, yes, tell me.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You mentioned briefly that there are auspicious and inauspicious moments to leave the body. And I was wondering if an enlightened being can actually choose their moment of departure.
If you read the Bhagavatam, you can see that Bhishmadeva you know the story of Bhishmadeva. Bhishmadeva was a great warrior. He was defeated. He wanted to be defeated. Actually, he couldn't be defeated, and he had so many arrows going through his body. You know, so much so that these arrows will keep him from touching the ground while he was lying down. There was whoever has read Mahabharata or the Bhagavad-Gita knows the story. Actually, there is a total more than one chapter dedicated to Bhishmadeva and Bhishmadeva teaching in this very painful, apparently painful. So he said, I will not leave the body, although he had the arrows all over his body. He was not forced by the arrows to die. He chose his moment, and he chose to Tarayana. That is the moment that the sun travels to the north part of our planet. You know that there is it's a plan that is called, what's the name? An imaginary line in the sky, the north and south, and the sun travels, and I will talk about this now. I don't remember names. So when the sun travels north, then it's auspicious to leave the body to go to the upper planets. Bhishmadeva had to go back to the upper planets because he was one of the 8 Vasu, and it was cursed. The whole story about the Vasu being cursed by the Vashista. He was cursed to come in this world and live many years in this world. So he wanted to go back to his position, his service as a Vasu. And so to go back to the Vasu, he had to leave the body in a precise moment. And he chose his moment to die. So he can choose. We probably not, because we should be very high and yogi, and we don't have this power to maintain our soul inside the body. Our soul is kept inside the body by air, by different airs. They are called prana, different types of prana. The prana going out from up to down, from down to up, from this and that. So through this pranic air, our soul is maintained. So if we can manipulate the action of pranas, then we can decide where to leave the body, in how to leave the body, but also when to leave the body. If we can order to the prana that you don't go now. Even if your body destroyed, still, since you are the soul, you can decide to leave a body, useless body, or destroyed, hurt. Still, you can decide. Even if the body is useless and the heart doesn't beat, etc., you still can decide to stay there until the right moment, because death is not when the body is destroyed. Death is when the soul leaves the body. That's death. Until the soul stays, it's not death. It's not dead. So yes, you can decide. If you are a great yogi, mystic yogi, you can decide when to leave your body.
Thank you. Very interesting.
Haribol. Okay, so I think any other question? We have some 5-10 minutes maybe. Then we'll wrap it up if we have questions.
Maybe if you could expand a little bit on the Paramatma that's impersonal, that's just energy. What does that do? Or
Yeah, just like my words enter into your ears, and go into your mind. I'm not in your mind. That's something on me entering into your head. That's an energy. I don't need to be present where my energy is. So, this is a crude example, but just, to make you understand that concept that Vishnu has the power of expanding his energy. You know, it's just energy. He is not present. There's no Vishnu present into each atom, but it's Vishnu's energy, okay, present. While we can, while we cannot expand ourselves physically, Vishnu can expand himself physically, and then he can enter into everyone's body in one of his form. And when we are finally liberated, until we are not liberated, but the same Paramatma stays with us as our friend, and then he goes back, our Paramatma, he goes back into Kshirodakeshai, Vishnu's body. He was like his agent for us. Look how much he loves us. You know, he doesn't leave us. So you want to be a fool in this material world, wasting your existence, okay, then who cares? No. He sends a representation of one of his agents. He stays with us until we decide the right thing. This is Paramatma inside our heart. He's there.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
So it's an energy, that energy, just like we can decide how much energy we put in our, let's continue the analogy of speech. You know, a speech can be good, it can be not good, it can be interesting, it can be boring, it can be loud. I can yell, or I can speak with it. So there are different types of energy. It's not at all energy. It's the same. So Vishnu charges his energy for a specific duty, that is to maintain and diversify the material nature of the universe. The universe is not a monolith, you know. There's water, there is air, there is gas, there is so many different things. There are planets, and there are the space, and all these things. How this is created and maintained. The idea is Brahma, but then Vishnu maintains. Vishnu is a maintainer. So Brahma builds the space, the planets, etc. Vishnu immediately enters into it, and he executes Brahma's plan. So water, then you want an ocean, okay? And then the power of attraction, that's it. When I studied physics, I was a young boy, there is a specific word, it's atomic what? Anyway, something different, type of attraction between atoms. So water, the atoms has to be a little bit less attracted, otherwise they form land, you know, or air. Air is even more diluted than the atoms inside the air. It's even less powerfully attracted to one than that. Atoms are not present only in gross matter, but also in the finer matter, like air or space, Akash. Akash is space. Space, there is no air, it's a kind of air. So there is also some kind of atom there. Material nature is made in this way, and Vishnu maintains it in this way by his energy.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we can stop here, and so go to our website where there is everything. When is do you go every day or every other day to visit my website? Do you? No. That's sad.
Sometimes, Guru Maharaj. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I do. Yes.
Sometimes.
I'm seeing the posts that are coming up in the WhatsApp, and some of them are or a lot of them are interesting, but I just don't click on them to read more about it.
If you click, you go only one place, my website. If you will click one time only, that you must have gone to my website, because my idea is that everything I say, everything we say, everything we do, and everything is in our website. So I very much like that the devotees visit our site. When I hear that they don't, it's really sad. Because also in the links that I put in the group of in the WhatsApp group or in Facebook, that's just a link. There is not the article. So to read the article, you have to click. And when you click, you go to our website.
But when I do, Guru Maharaj, I read several articles.
Okay.
Yes.
I will forgive you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we see again last announcement that I have been invited to speak at length about my personal experience with Srila Prabhupada. And so I'm going to tell everything between me and Srila Prabhupada. And not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, because it's in Spanish. So every one of you is interested to hear about Srila Prabhupada and in Spanish, then you should come. Not this, you come also this Saturday, but the Srila Prabhupada night will be in 2 Saturdays. Okay? Then thank you very much, Haribol.
Thank you, Haribol.
Srila Prabhupada.
Ay, muchas gracias. Thank you.
Manonatha Maharaj.